Okay, so we're recording now.
Mhm.
I I usually start these by asking how many of my typing sessions have you seen before?
I have only saw one just to not spoil myself with any like type of questions you do. I've seen the one that you did with the Romanian girl.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like
Uh,
that video was a few months ago, but yeah. I've only seen that one.
okay. And how long have you known about typology and MBTI stuff?
For about 2 years since quarantine happened.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah. I've been just researching everything during that whole time.
Okay.
So,
Um, can you tell me a little bit about which kind of classes you enjoyed back when you were in school and which kind of classes you didn't like, or if you are still, some people continue taking school for a long time. So,
uh, Um, in school, I really liked science, more specifically forensics. I loved forensics. I was really good in that class. Um, I was a dance major, so I liked that class too. And English and gym. Those are like my top four. And classes I didn't like, probably math. I'm not good with math, so I didn't like math a lot.
when you say forensics, do you mean like speech and debate forensics, or you mean like
Oh, forensic science, yeah.
forensic
Forensic
science? Okay,
science, yeah.
yeah, it's an old term that used to be used more for speech and debate, but isn't so much anymore.
Hmm.
Um, so when you were in high school, did you dance as well, and then you went to college to become a dance major accordingly, or what?
I've been in the like I've been dancing all like my whole life, like 10 plus years, but I'm not in college now. I'm solely working. So I stopped dancing like professionally, but I still dance like freely. But yeah,
Sure.
I danced most of my life. Yeah.
Okay. Um, and did you have a clear idea of what you wanted to do before you went to school, before you went to college?
Uh I did. I considering I liked forensic science a lot, I thought I was just gonna be in that field, like some sort of forensic stuff or psychology. But since quarantine happened, I kind of like gave up on that and just moving smoothly with whatever's going on. I mainly realized that I wanted to work and have money to support myself and other people. So
What
that
kind
was
of
like
work
the
are you
main thing.
doing now?
I'm working with kids in an after school program.
Cool. Okay. Do you find that kids like you?
Uh, yes, I do think I get along with kids. It's just I'm a bit socially awkward when like talking to them unless they talk to me first. As like I remember my like first few week of my job, I was very scared to like go up to the like older grades, like fourth and fifth, that my like supervisor had to tell me like I need to socialize a little bit more with them and not be afraid to socialize with them. But over the weeks it got easier and I found kids that were similar to me and weren't afraid to like come up to me and talk to me. But they most of my kids that I have, they seem to like me. I even got a compliment today that I was a nice teacher by them. So that was
That's
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So can you tell me about your sleeping habits? Do you go to bed the same time every night? How many hours of sleep do you need? Is it hard for you to get to sleep, etc.?
Uh, I would say I need 8 plus hours of sleep. I try to do that. Most of the time I go to sleep mainly around this time. Like for your time it might be 8 p.m., but for mine it's 11
Okay.
p.m. So I would be going to sleep like right after this. But since I don't have work tomorrow, I could stay up as much as I want. Um,
Right.
I I never had trouble sleeping. I was always able to go to sleep right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you have something to do, you have to be somewhere at like 8 in the morning, let's say. Are you more likely to get, you have to choose between getting a little bit more sleep or having a little more time to get ready in the morning? Which do you prefer?
Mm. Yeah, that part always gets tricky with me because I'm like, I know if I have to wake up at a certain time, I should sleep at a certain time. But sometimes I like snooze a little bit just to be like, oh, if I sleep a little more, then I won't be able to do this thing, but I'll get everything else done. So that's what I usually do just to make sure I have like 10 minutes of sleep more. But I'm still early enough to be on time for something. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a routine when you wake up in the morning? Like, first you need to sit on the patio with a cup of coffee and take your time getting ready to start your day, or do you just get out of bed and start rolling?
No, I on regular days when I'm not working, it's a pretty calm day. I wake up, I go on my phone, I get something to eat, I come back down to my room, do whatever I need to do in my room, and just overall, I like to have my days to be really chill. So nothing really eventful happens, but that's like my routine most of the day.
Okay. So, when you wake up in the morning, do you have a clear idea of what you've got waiting ahead of you in the day? Like, do you think to yourself, okay, at 10, I've got to meet with Mia, and then at 1, I got to go to Mia, and then I need to eat lunch before that, and then I need to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner? Do you think about that, all that kind of stuff, first thing in the morning?
Um, no, not really. Um, if I do know that I have somewhere to go on that next day, then yeah, I will think about it. But since I keep my days pretty nice and mellow and chill, I um just like I mainly think about what I'm gonna eat. That's mainly the thing. It's like what am I gonna eat in this time?
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, when I do have an event, I will think about those things. Yes.
Okay. When you're watching media that you're consuming not to learn anything, it doesn't teach you anything, it's just for your entertainment. What kind of
Mhm.
shows do you like to watch?
For my entertainment, just very like when it comes to cartoons, I will just watch very like cute cartoons or anything on Cartoon Network or anime. Movies, I'm a big horror fan, so I watch a lot of horror movies and spooky things that will just, make me happy. That's when I'm not trying to learn anything. That's what
Mhm.
I watch. Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me which animes you've liked a lot? Because I'm pretty knowledgeable about anime. I watch a lot of it myself, so I'll
Mhm.
probably know some of the things you watch.
Um, I well recently, like around this year, I've watched Demon Slayer. I'm a big Haikyuu fan, My Hero fan. I'm caught up with all the animes that have came out this year. So Spy Family came out this year, and I watched that, and that was very nice. Uh,
I've
but
watched
yeah,
all the ones you just named.
yeah, I just watched those, and I'm like just looking forward to the like I know Blue Lock is coming out, and I think in October, so I can't wait for that to see that. And yeah, I
Did you
mainly
watch
just watch those.
So I'm a Spider, So What?
Sorry, what?
Did you watch So I'm a Spider, So What?
No, I haven't watched that.
That's one of my favorite ones. It's from like maybe 2 years ago or last year. I'm not sure, but that one's really good. I don't know if you like isekais. That one's a really good one. It's about a girl who gets reincarnated as a spider.
Okay, no, okay. I've seen that trailer. Yes, yes. I've
That's
seen the trailer of it on Crunchyroll. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good one. I'd recommend it. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So, um, have your media tastes changed since you were younger, or you still like basically the same kind of stuff?
The same kind of stuff. It's been the same all throughout my life. Yeah. It
Okay,
was like maybe like now in my life like intensified because I have like more um what's the word? More outlets. Yeah, more outlets that I could like choose from.
okay. You have more streaming services.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So, did you pick this spot for any particular reason before you came to meet here, like where you're sitting? Did you pay attention to what the background looks like and or whether you have a comfortable sitting spot?
Yes, I did think about that. Usually when I'm on any like type of sessions like this, I usually go where my mirror is, but some circumstances where I can't be there right now, so I just picked where my bed is and where the pillows are and like where I can see light. But this is not my preferred space. This is my first time doing a call like this on my bed. I usually do it over there, but
Okay.
it's not new.
All right, cool. Um, generally speaking, do you feel as though you trust your experience more or your instincts?
I, when I hear instincts, I just hear like gut feelings, but in the like this sense, definitely more of like experience wise. Like I always like this is an experience that I've experienced before, so I know how all of this kind of goes. So I like trust that. Um, my instincts, I doubt those sometimes. So I mainly trust that the experiences more because I'll doubt my instincts, but my
Okay.
experiences, I won't doubt them.
As somebody who likes to dance, you must also listen to a fair amount of music.
Yes, I am a big lover of music. Yes.
So, have do you listen to stuff that you've accumulated as stuff you like over the years, mostly with occasional new things added in, or
Yeah.
do you spend okay? So you don't spend that much time looking for new stuff.
Yeah. The only time I don't like look for new stuff, the last time I've looked for new stuff was like, um, I was gonna say years ago, but no, it was like about a few weeks ago when I was trying to like get into like a new genre of music, but it wasn't clicking to me. Like it wasn't giving me the same feelings that I do with other genres of music. Because usually with me, if it sounds good to me, then yeah, I'm gonna listen to it over and over. Um, but if it's not clicking to me, I'm just like I'll hold on to it a little bit, but after a while I'll just be like, no, there's no connection with it to me, so I'll just let it go. But
Okay,
yeah, I usually listen to things that I've listened to way back then and just get new stuff that sounds similar to that.
okay. This next question, I'd like you to answer it first in terms of it's going to be. I'm asking you about a vacation you've been on at some point. First, I'd like you to answer it for a recent one, sometime in the last couple of years, and the second answer I'd like to be from your childhood. Okay. So can you tell me about the most memorable moment that you recall from a vacation, first recent and then from childhood?
Okay. Recently, which was a few months ago, um, I went to another country and um the most memorable thing was like um the like walks that I would go on because this country, I went to Guyana and it's like a like nature. There's a bunch of nature and trees and stuff like that. And I like to like take like nature walks around it just to like be familiar with the area. Um, it also rains a lot there too, so I would usually like stay at home. Anytime I'm not walking, I'm staying in just listening to the rain. And those would be like the most peaceful times that I would have there. Um, yeah, those are the main things that I like liked and remember about that whole trip. There were other things I liked, but those were like the key things I liked. The walks and the rainy days.
Okay.
And in my childhood, I didn't take a lot of vacations in my childhood, like when I was a kid, but when I was still like a preteen, I went to Puerto Rico and that was my first time ever going to another country. And the only thing like that really stood out to me is that I went in the water in the pool because I really liked the pool. It was during the summer and it was hot. I just liked being in the pool. It was just me and my mom, and we were just enjoying, the water and everything that's in Puerto Rico.
Okay. So in both those examples, you gave me a something that you presumably did multiple times on those trips. Do you have in your mind when you're telling me that a specific instance or not?
So what do you mean by instance? Like the
Well,
like
the most memorable moment for me on my most recent trip to Hawaii with my dad and Rachel was, and Delilah was there too, but not on this moment, was we were driving back from the volcano and we stopped right around sunset time at this McDonald's. It was super old school, like super 70s decor. And I just remember it being a kind of a satisfying, peaceful moment and memorable because of the striking visuals, like the sunset, the 70s dated kind of McDonald's, and the fact that we were like, oh, it's nice to get out of the car and sit down and have a hot coffee and stuff. It was just,
Mhm.
it was a moment that stood out. But because of our attentional differences, when I asked my girlfriend this question, she talked about the changing weather. She liked that a lot. Well, that's not really a moment, right? That's a feature of observation across moments.
Mhm.
So you gave me answers more like she would give me,
Mhm.
than the example I just gave, right?
Mhm.
All right, so that generally links to NI versus SI. So to see if I can hammer this down a little bit better, can you articulate a sequence of insignificant events that made up your day to day? For example, I got up, I had a Hostess miniature bundt cake, and then I made a pot of coffee. I poured myself coffee. I had a cigarette and a coffee, and then I started watching. Uh, then I checked Mindy's Club to see how those little short videos were doing.
Mhm.
And then I checked Crunchyroll to see if anything new had been released that I wanted to watch. And nothing had. So, so then I went and watched boxing videos on YouTube about particularly Art Arturo Arguello from Nicaragua
Mhm.
back in the 80s. Anyway, so that's my example of what me after I woke up for about an hour or so. a sequence of details like that in order that I'm recalling from this morning. Can you do that for your morning?
Okay. So today I had work, so I woke up at 7 o'clock a.m. I went straight to take a shower, got back out, got dressed, got everything I needed for work because I needed to be there at 8. I got there at 8. I clocked in, went to check up on the kids and waited for all the kids to come because we were going to Coney Island, get my group of kids on the bus, buckle them in, make sure they're safe and they're good. We were on the bus for about 30, 40 minutes, probably. Got back out. We stood for a little while because we got there early and the park wasn't open at all. Yeah, then it opened. Then we went on some rides. Then around
Did
1:30,
you
that's
sing
when
New York, New York?
Yes, I'm from New York.
That's cool. Do you like New York?
Yeah. It's cool. It's New York. I like
Right.
it as much as the next New Yorker.
Well,
It's fine.
people from the rest of the country, like me, we all know New York from TV and movies.
Well, it's it depends on what type of movie you've seen of New York because it differs. Because the reality of it is not that glamorous,
Right.
especially which borough you're from. I'm from Brooklyn, so it's not, like, ooh, sparkly lights everywhere. Everything's busy. Like, yes, it's busy. It's a very busy city, but a lot of people, a lot of dirt. So it's just like,
Right.
New York.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I'm
yeah.
familiar with it originally. Or the thing that taught me and made me hear a lot of New York things first was Law and Order, where I heard things like
Yeah.
going to the bodega. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
But I now
Like
know
this.
at the time I was like, what is that? I've never even heard of that before, the bodega.
Mhm. There are some bodegas, but we usually call them delis. That's what we usually. Oh, the corner store. That's what we
Mm.
usually call them. Uh,
Okay, cool. So,
yeah.
all right. Well, that was your answer there was very SI front stack. So while the
Mhm.
previous everything prior to that had been SI front stack indicative, that answer was very SI front stack indicative. The only thing
Yeah,
that
and that
suggested
that was just the morning. That was just the morning.
yeah, the only thing that suggested NI so far over SI was your answer to the vacation question. So that I'm going to say that that's probably anomalous, and we're looking at SI front stack, same as me. Okay, you got in other words, you've got a strong autobiographical memory.
I try. I be thinking I don't, but I guess I'm like, it depends on like if it really um um word. What's the word? I guess affected me in
But does it though? Because listen, I bet
I'm
if
trying to
you,
find the right words for it. Yeah.
I bet if you have driven or ridden in a car recently, and there was music on, that if I asked you to recall where you were in the city at that moment when the song number whatever came on that you recall from the drive, you'd be able to tell me where you were location wise. Do you think you would?
Some um
It was not too far back in time anyway.
if I had to explain it to another person on where we were, yeah, my sense of direction is not like for me when it comes to direction, if I've seen it and like I know that place, I know how to get back to that place with just by like looking at it. Like, oh yeah, I know where that place is. So like I don't need like directions. Unless it's a new place, then of course I'm gonna need directions. But if I've seen that place once or twice, I know how to get there. That was actually like a problem I had like in school because I knew where my school was, but my mom wanted to know the street and the streets, and I was just like, I just know what stop I need to get off of, and I know where it is, but I know streets and all that such now. It's just I had like a photo memory of like, okay, that's where I'm supposed to be, and I know how to get there.
Right.
That's all I need.
Okay. All right. Cool. Um, can you tell me how many steps is it optimal to break down the task of putting on your shoes into?
How many steps? You want me to say all the steps?
Yeah.
Okay. First, find some socks you want. Um, if you lotion your feet, put your socks on, pick out the shoes you want. And you can pick out the shoes you want before you even do all that. Pick out the shoes, loosen up your shoes, put your foot in, put them back in, you put on your shoes.
Okay. So how many steps was that, do you think?
5 or 6, or maybe 5,
Okay.
if you're
Without
looking
talking
at my
it
shoes.
through, without talking it through like that, what do you think the optimal or best number of steps is to break down the task of making a bowl of cereal?
Hmm. Okay. Sorry, someone's calling me.
No problem.
Did my okay, good. I counted about 5, 6, or 7. Max is probably 6 or 7, maybe 6.
I mean, get a bowl, pour some cereal, pour some milk, get a spoon.
I know. I was like,
What
I'm like
extra?
thinking of the times like you got to think about what cereal you want. So I'm like, that's a step, maybe.
Okay. Uh, do you have a solution for, or what are some thoughts you have about how to solve the problem of plastics in the oceans?
um, don't litter. That's just self-explanatory. Like, just find a hold on to your garbage. If you don't drop your garbage, find garbage anywhere, recyclables, whatever, and just throw them in. Don't throw them in the ocean, please. Don't
Okay,
do
but
that.
even if everyone was to do that, it still wouldn't solve the problem of plastics in the oceans that exists already. If you were just going to solve that problem, do you have any thoughts on that?
Considering it is like a big problem, I just feel like it would probably just take a long time for it to be like completely solved. Because again, some people just don't like really care about like where their trash goes. So I'm like saying it just would take a lot of time. Just wish like
Okay.
just people be
Okay,
mindful of
can
it,
you
but you know.
can you tell me what kind of problems you have to solve at work?
Um Mostly just kids fighting with other kids. Um Anytime I like see like any kids like shouting to each other or hitting each other, I try to stop that immediately. Like, I've realized I kind of have to be a bit more sterner with kids, especially a whole group of kids, because like some of them won't really listen to you if you like. Because I'm a person that's not very like authoritative. I had to like grow into being like more forceful and like with orders and such, and I'm still working on it. But yeah, like I would just, if I see the problem, just like, hey guys, don't do that. Just stop doing that. I would like separate them, all that such, give them a break from each other, and then if they're okay, bring them back in. But that's usually the problem, is just little kids hitting or yelling at each other,
And then
and that usually
let's say that
gets.
happens. Do you try to resolve it like by talking to each of them about it, or do you just say knock it off, make the behavior stop, and then
Uh,
or what?
uh, yeah, I usually talk to them about it. I'm like, especially if it was like a real serious one. Like if it was just like petty thing that you can be like, okay, guys, stop, and they'll listen the first time. But if it was more severe, yeah, I would pull a kid away and like ask like, why did they do that? What was the start of it, anyways, and just see what I could do to like solve whatever problem they have, or like make them feel more comfortable by just telling them to leave each other alone. In any sense? Yeah.
Okay. So, what value do you think it's more important for you to uphold in the world? Fairness or usefulness?
Fairness. Yeah.
How about fairness or impactfulness?
Still fairness.
Okay. How about
Yeah.
fairness or kindness?
Mm. Yeah, that one's um yeah, that one stumped me. I think still fairness,
Okay.
but with me, sometimes I try with like more of kindness. But yeah,
Would
just
you
overall, just try to make things fair, and then like add kindness into it. So,
okay? Would you rather other people speak very politely and positively to you consistently, or be fair to you consistently?
more in the polite, kind way, because that's what I do for other people, and I appreciate that whole thing. Like, hey, I'm treating you this way, like the whole treated how you want to be treated thing. Yeah. So yeah,
So,
politely and kindly.
are you more somebody who's true to herself, or more somebody who's a team player?
It depends on the situation, but most of the time I am a team player. But yeah, in just some cases I'm just um the
Who
whole
are some?
true to
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
the the like the true to yourself thing gets confused with me sometimes. 'Cause I'm like, is true to myself just being a team player and just like just having that middle ground? I feel like I've done this like before. Just I have that middle ground and just keep things leveled. Yeah, I think that's what I need to say. Like keep things leveled. So I guess team player.
Okay. If you're likely to critique somebody else, are you more likely to critique them for not being a team player or for not being true to themselves?
Definitely team player. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, there's been times where I've been very upset because someone wasn't doing the thing like they were like supposed to do, or like felt like it was like more right to do, and I've gotten a bit upset with that. I'm thinking in work situations right now because that's like the main thing that's happening in my life. But no, but yeah, definitely in other outlets of my life. Yeah, more team player. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Uh, can you tell me about if you have any creative outlets other than dancing? Like, do you write, sing, play music, draw, paint, take photographs, anything like that?
Yeah, I was a I like to dabble in, drawing, like coloring books. I don't think I'm a very good drawer because like I'm surrounded by a lot of artists in my life and they are very great with what they do. And all I do is just like color books. I read. I
What kind of books
I
do you
do
read?
write. Um, Mainly horror books. Yeah, mainly horror books and spooky
Do you like
books.
real life true stories or made up stories?
I like fiction. I do like fiction. Yeah.
Do you watch YouTube videos about the same subject, like scary stories, like your shirt says?
Yes, I do it
Like,
a lot.
have you watched Mr. B. Allen before?
B. Allen.
You might think of him
No,
as Mr. Ballin.
no,
No,
I don't think so.
he
No.
basically does like spooky campground stories. Now, he started off with a bunch of like good, interesting stories because he tells all true stories. Some, his initial ones were true stories that also had like spooky paranormal elements to them. He ran out of those kind of stories, and so now he does more like true crime stories. It's not as good. It's more depressing.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
okay. So, what kind of videos do you watch on YouTube?
um, my favorite like channels are um like there's a channel called Dead Meat, which does a bunch of kill counts on certain horror movies. And I watch like a group, like YouTube groups. I watch the Sidemen and they do a bunch of like crazy challenges and all a bunch of like wacky things for like money. So I find those entertaining. But those are like the main two things I watch nowadays because most of the time I have YouTube on as like white noise because like I know what they're doing, I know what they're talking about, I've seen it before. So I'm just like, I have you as the white noise while I'm doing something else.
Hmm, right. YouTube's an interesting as a consumer of videos. It's it's so very different than as a creator, but the way it's set up, like their software and stuff, my experience as a video consumer is unaffected by my doings as a video creator completely. So in other words, it it just it just shows me things that maybe I'm going to want to watch. The thing I would say about it is with YouTube, you go through a topic and you kind of exhaust it. And then you move away from that topic for a while. Then maybe you go back to it. You find like a couple of channels that make videos that you want to watch on that topic that are new, that are good. So you watch those. But um but then it's like at a certain point you've kind of exhausted all the topics that you want to watch videos about that are low-hanging fruit. And so you kind of watch more streaming services then. And then when you come back, you have to give it some time to gather some more stuff. That's my experience with YouTube anyway. Sorry, I
That's
just
cool.
sharing my experience with you there.
That's cool. That's good. I could see
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I like to watch paranormal, spooky shit like paranormal stuff caught on camera. I like to watch
Yeah.
crazy shit that somebody filmed somewhere that not people getting hurt. You know,
Hmm.
I don't really like
Yeah.
to watch people getting hurt. So
Yeah.
okay, if you were to be in a long-term relationship, I don't know if you are now or not, but pretend you're single if you are, and
Yeah.
hypothetically, what do you want your partner to uphold as a value? Do you want them to uphold more um, reliability, or uh, or lots of new experience?
Definitely someone that's more reliable. Um, yeah,
Okay,
I definitely more reliable.
is it more important that they be reliable in what they say they're going to do, or what they say they're not going to do?
For what they're going to do. Cause
Okay,
because if you say the things you're not gonna do and then you do it, I'm gonna notice that automatically. Oh, immediately. That's the word. But I'll also do that for the things that you say you are gonna do, and if you're not doing it, I'm gonna notice that. But
okay, cool.
yeah.
Um, would you rather a significant other be um have a great sense of humor or be high achieving, if you can only pick one?
Sense of humor. I like to smile, and I want someone to make me laugh. I guess.
Okay, cool. Um, let's see here. All right, now I'd like to ask you some TI questions. If all people named Ken are wearing green shirts, if all people named Ken are wearing green shirts, and I am wearing a green shirt, is it necessarily the case that I am named Ken?
No, I did not understand that question. I mean,
If all people named Ken are wearing green shirts,
yeah,
and I am wearing a green shirt, am I necessarily named Ken?
no, he does not name Ken. Your name's not Ken. I mean, people would assume your name's Ken if you're wearing green, but you would just correct them by saying, "No, I'm not Ken."
Okay. Well, the answer is correct that it's not the case that you're necessarily Ken, but it's because even though all people named Ken wear green shirts, it is not necessarily the case. I didn't say only people with Ken wear green shirts. So there may be people named Bob and Steve who also wear green shirts, and it's not inconsistent with the statement all people named Ken wear green shirts. Anyway, let me ask a couple more of these kind of questions. I ask a couple of genealogy questions so I can pin down this. Okay. Um, if if some birds fly and some things that fly are airplanes, is it necessarily the case that some birds are airplanes?
Um, no, because some birds can't fly, like chickens. That's the first
Okay.
thing I came up with.
Okay.
Like chickens can't
That's
fly.
it's correct, but not really because of that reason, but it's fine. Um, all right, how about this? If only people from Iceland like iceberg lettuce, and I like iceberg lettuce, am I necessarily from Iceland?
No, I don't think. Did you say all
I said
Iceland
only.
people?
Only people from
Oh
Iceland
wait,
like iceberg lettuce, and I like iceberg lettuce. Am I necessarily from Iceland?
you're not. But how you know? Like all, like only.
Yeah, because it says if it were the case that only people from Iceland like iceberg lettuce, and if it were the case that I like iceberg lettuce, then would it be the case that I must be from Iceland?
You just like iceberg lettuce. I don't mean you're from there. But, I feel like I'm like doing so bad with these questions because I'm just like I don't.
You're fine. The thing, okay, so let me ask you a genealogy question. Can you tell me who my mother's husband is in relationship to me?
Your mother's husband. Your grandpa.
Right. Okay. How about my mom's sister's daughter's brother in relationship to me?
Your mom's sister's daughter's. You said son or brother?
Brother.
Cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. And then if every pickle has two quadrables and there are three bunions in a quadrable, then how many bunions are there in two pickles?
I don't. Eight. I don't know.
I think that's right. I forgot. I don't know the
I'm like,
answer.
I'm just like
Because I
four
forgot
plus
what numbers I
four.
used.
It's like four plus four, eight.
Okay, I think
Two.
you're right, but I forgot what numbers I used. So okay, anyway, that's fine. That's enough information there. Let me just do some NE tests here, and then I'll tell you what type I think you are. Okay, so I'd like you to, I'm going to say a sentence or the first line of a poem, and I want you to make up a second line of the poem that rhymes with it, okay?
All right.
Um, let's see. Oh, look, I said, and then went up to grab it.
No, that's not gonna work. You said, "Oh, look, a rabbit,"
Okay, that's
or
fine.
grab it.
I said grab it.
Yeah, grab it. But you said,
Yeah.
"Oh, look,
Oh,
something,"
look,
and
and then
then
oh, look, and then went. I said, oh, look, and then went up to grab it.
I am not finding anything that rhymes right now that will make some type of sense.
Well, you already came up with rabbit.
Yeah, rabbit, it, yeah.
Okay, let me try this. Can you tell me? I'm going to tell you that about a new invention I've made, and I'd like you to tell me um, a name for it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's a clip you wear on your nose like this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and what you do is it's designed to keep a spare cigarette right here for when you need to smoke a cigarette. pretty soon.
Okay.
So the thing is, I can't think of a good name for my new invention, and the marketing department wants you to come up with some snappy names for
First there, I thought it was like nose smoke, nose smoke,
it.
or smoky nose. I don't know, just some smoke and nose. This is just right there.
Okay. Do you think that you'd be able to potentially come up with a lot of them if you had time to sit down and think about it and take your time? Or do you think it matters that you're on being put on the spot?
Even if I had time, I'd probably maybe come up with like three more, maybe.
Okay. Um, do you think that do you think that all right, so can you think of a time or kind of thing that you do perhaps that makes you mad at yourself? For example, uh the other day I got a replacement toilet seat. I got two replacement toilet seats, but anyway, they were the wrong size and I destroyed one of the boxes opening it. And it was just really dumb across the board. This whole fiasco of changing the toilet seats, going to the place, knowing I was getting the wrong size, getting it. I was really mad at myself for doing that kind of mess up. So, uh, can you think of it something that makes you mad at yourself?
Um, Something I beat myself about sometimes is when like my friends are going through something or like have a specific problem, and at that moment I just don't really know what to say to like sometimes it doesn't usually happen. I know like what to say, but there'll be times where I'm like, I don't really know how this will help. I haven't came up with anything that will help. So I kind of like feel bad and like, oh, why can't I think of anything to make them like feel better? So I just get like,
Okay, cool.
ugh, like, ugh.
Okay, so I will tell you what I believe to be your type. I'm very confident everything seems to line up with you being an ISFJ. Can you tell me what you thought you were coming in?
Um, Definitely ISFJ. Um, the main reason for that is the whole SI dominant and NE inferior. Because when I first found out about ISFJs, I mainly, like in the beginning, I mainly focused on the NE inferior and how it is when it is inferior. And it related a lot to me when I'm under certain stress most of the time. And I've realized, like, looking back on other things, that like SI is quite there a lot. I just never realized I like used it like ever. So that's why like it took a while, but I understood it. Um FETI, I knew I had that, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I had a
you test across the board, almost everything lines up with it. Is really a nice textbook example.
nice. Well, yeah, I got like but before this, like I had like really like I sometimes like doubt my type, like, oh, what if like I'm not being like the perfect version of my type or whatever, but I know like I'm a unique type, and like that's when like multiple things will go into my head. Like, what if I'm like something else, even though I can't really think like what else would I be? But it's just like that what if I am? And I'm not like ready to confront that, I guess.
You're not. You're not anything but an ISFJ.
Okay.
I can tell you that with a very high degree of certainty. Sometimes, and that's not always the case. Sometimes I end these sessions and I'm like, well, you're a little bit confusing. But everything lines up from the TE polar test showing TE polar, the NE test being fourth-ish, and definitely not seventh because of the extensive capacity to SI storytell. And you even identify your critical parent as an FI thing, a failure of FI, right in line with everything. Everything just like bam, bam, bam lines up. It's nice when that happens.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, complaints, concerns, queries, quandaries, conundrums?
Um, hmm. Mhm. Uh, I guess my second and third function is FE and TI. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like since they're like in the middle, I always feel like they like work together in some capacity. So, like, do they in some way?
Yeah, it's the TI frames it, the FE operates. So what that means is when you're moving through the world, your attention's on FE, sometimes at the expense of TI. But you actually end up, when you're not out in the world interacting, you're checking afterwards to make sure that the way you did upheld under TI framing. So, in other words, if you were well received, but you realize when you get home that you were wrong and or unfair, then you're going to say, I let my desire to smooth things over make me be unfair to that person. Then you're going to say, well, that was a failure to operate my extroverted feeling correctly.
Yeah, I relate. Yeah, I see that in me. Yeah, I see that.
And when
Yeah.
you are successfully correct and fair, then you're going to feel like satisfied, like you scored points. It's why I call it scorekeeper function. Or scorecard function. Yeah.
Mhm. I see that.
And then you also talked about you talked about preferring in others like both kinds of S's as values. I didn't really ask about preferring the ends, so I don't really have anything to compare it against actually. But it sounded to me when you were talking about reliability and impact and stuff, you did just value those over like TE and um, with the external world, you valued impactfulness, which is consistent with being an S. It's like ISFJs have as absolute values the S's and T's. So that and that means that the feelings things and the intuition things are just instrumental to things that work, things that are correct, and contribute to experience and the building of a self over time is on the top of a growing mountain of experiences.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Okay, so I will stop this recording now. Do you want me to share this with you privately, or are you comfortable with me publishing?
Um, um, yeah, you could publish it, but I also would like to have it privately too.
Oh yeah, this will share with each of us automatically. I'm using the recording function here, and it automatically shares with both people.
Okay. Yeah. That's-
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank